Hello gang, Shot21 here. So, I know I haven't done a Tuesday video in a while. I'm working on trying to remember the freaking camera when I leave the house. So, that's the problem there. Iron's in the fire, as you're seeing. Stuff's coming on. That's good. I've started working on the transmission rebuild videos, as you're seeing. Those were filmed over summer of 2024, well, summer, fall of 2024. So if they seem a little behind the times, it's because they are. I'm going to start working in the Voron series stuff as well with those. I may go up to 2 long-form videos a week. And I may ditch the short forms on Monday or on Tuesdays. We shall see. With work being back as a thing here shortly, I'll have more opportunity for these. So we'll see what happens there. The transmission rebuild series as a, well, failure that may not be its entirety. Now that the weather's warming back up and I haven't been able to move the Jeep, I think I'm going to, when I get some nice days, rip that Jeep apart again and rebuild that, or see if I can figure out what's wrong with that transmission I rebuilt, put it in, and then go from there. It's a perfectly usable car, so there may be 3 of us in the house, but it wouldn't hurt to have 4 vehicles because I've got to take it down the other 2 in terms of repairs. So you're going to see some more repair videos on, servicing videos on a 2006 Porsche Cayenne, and I want to say it's a 2018 BMW X3. I could be wrong on the BMW's years, but I know the Cayenne's an 06. Cayenne doesn't need a whole lot, but the stuff it does need is, I won't say intensive, but there's a lot of stripping stuff down. I'm pretty sure the compressor's seized. I know the compressor on this thing's seized. So, we're gonna have some, vehicles apart in the yard for extended durations. Let's put it that way. So, the truck is going to get the front end totally rebuilt. Well, not totally rebuilt, but I've got to pull drive shafts, driver and passenger, put new U-joints, and at the same time I might as well put new ball joints, and I'm going to do brakes on it at that time, so I might as well put brakes, do new calipers and rotors, and the rotors come off. I got to put new wheel bearings in because these wheel bearings are probably original with 123,000 miles on it, and I don't know the last time they were serviced properly. Trying to think what else I've got to do on this. Ball joints, wheel bearings, U-joints, brakes. Oh, hubs. The reason that this all came to light is my hubs are engaging when they shouldn't be. These are the torque hub, so that's, a not unexpected event with them. But with the U-joints locking up, it doesn't help matters. So I'm going to, put new hubs on. We're going to go from auto hubs to manual hubs. Voron doesn't make them anymore for this thing. If I could get Voron hubs, I would. But Mile Marker does make hubs for this thing still, so I'm going to put some Mile Marker hubs in this, and we're going to go from there. as a result, you know, this thing is going to come fairly far apart. I definitely will need to do valve cover gaskets at some point for this thing, because it smells like oil in here right now. And I definitely got to figure out how to fix the dipstick on this thing. If anyone's got a line on a dipstick for a 94 Ranger with a 4-liter, that would be huge. I've got a couple of Facebook Marketplace part out Rangers that I've saved in my marketplace, so maybe I'll peruse them tonight, ping them and see if they've got dipsticks that are in any good shape, because that's a problem. This thing's dipstick is fucked. So that's the plan for the spring. I gotta get all that done this spring, hopefully sometime before, you know, June, early June. So I've got like 3.5-ish months, because it's the beginning of March right now. This thing is the priority to get the front redone. I mean, we've got 2 cars at the moment. I mean, 3 cars at the moment. This thing still drives, so it's 4, but I don't really want to do, or 3. So I don't really want to drive a whole lot on this, with the front being weird. It doesn't seem like a good idea. I also need to put a thermostat in this thing, because I'm pretty sure the thermostat's locked open. I drive around and it builds heat, and then the second I stop, it doesn't. Like, the freaking needle just plummets. So that's always a helpful thing. Putting new plugs in it did wonderful things, though. So, you know, the new plugs and new rear suspension was super helpful. So I'll do that. The Porsche needs, you know, the AC system looked at. It needs the canister vent system looked at. It needs the whole dash pulled out of it for blend doors repair. So that's fun. If I'm in that far, we're going to put in a Bluetooth module, disable the CD changer, put in Bluetooth, and I may as well run a backup camera line and install backup camera at that point if I'm going to have 3/4 of the interior torn apart already. So there is a few things to do on that. And then the X3 was leaking coolant last summer, so it needs well, we're not quite sure what it needs. I'm going to throw some dye in the coolant system and clean the engine bay out. I have a sneaking suspicion it's got a couple of leaks, one of which is the steam line going into the steam bottle, or the reservoir, whatever you want to call it on those things, because it's a steam system. And then I think it's got either a leak in the thermostat housing or a leak in the radiator. So we'll see what happens there. It's going to be a fun time had by all on that front. But if I can put some dye in it after I clean the engine bay out and track down exactly where the problem is, that'll be super helpful. So yeah, that's what's coming down the pipe in terms of car repair videos. And then depending on work scene and everything else, there may be some more moving stuff. I didn't do any of this past time, but you know, time crunch was a thing. We'll see what it looks like this time. I'll at least get you some videos of driving cross country, but that's one of the reasons we need to get the ACs fixed, because this thing doesn't have AC. I want it to have AC, but the compressor lunched on this one. So whole AC system rebuild is coming, because if the compressor seizes, it's spit metal throughout the entire system. You got to replace compressor, lines, dryer canister, orifice, condenser, and evaporator. So the whole system's coming out of this thing. I probably have to pull the dash. Maybe not, because I think I can all get to it from inside the engine bay. We'll see. I think the compressor lunched on the Porsche. I got to check with the previous owner on that one. If it didn't lunch, then it might just be needing some lines, because the rubber lines are probably bad. And it's leaking, similar to how the Jeep was. But it also needs the blend doors, so if it needs, you know, an evap core, then that's not too hard to get. I'm trying to think what else. The BMW needs the cooling system looked at, because it was leaking this fall when it was still hot out. It slowed down this winter. Getting back into the summer, I don't want to be driving around in that thing, or have them driving around in that thing with it leaking coolant. I was going through probably a quart every 2 weeks, and it was leaking. It wasn't going into the engine. The oil was perfect. All right, where was it? So yeah, I mean, there's a few things to do. They will come out as I can get them done. And, you know, there's still the printer videos too. And so at this point I've got printer, transmission, this car, Porsche, Beamer. Oh wait, more printer stuff, because the 2.4 and the 2.4 is down. I've got the original V0 to upgrade and rebuild. And then I've got the V0.1/0.2 hybrid, custom hybrid video or printer to finish its rebuild on. So plenty of stuff coming down the pipe. But, all right, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Sharps out. Catch you next time.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really helps me out, and it lets you know when I put something new up. New videos will be going up on Tuesdays or Thursdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. And if I do decide to do live streams, I will try to give 24 hours notice. So hit the subscribe button on the channel, and you'll be notified when I post that stuff too. Hope to see you next time. Sharps out.